the other day I was shopping and I saw something that said vegan ice cream, and then in tiny writing it said, if you have a dairy allergy, don't buy this product. Hey there, I'm Kathleen of the Allergy Chef, and today we're talking about hidden sources of dairy. You have to understand what milk is and all the different parts, but instead of boring you, I'm going to direct you to our really cool new resource called the Dairy-Free Diet, where Start breaks everything down. Same thing goes for hidden sources of dairy, dairy-free swaps. We've got great resources available for you that are going to just give you everything you want to know. So back to that ice cream. Let's talk about that for a hot sec. So get this. They use a process that replicates dairy-based lactic acid, but no dairy was involved. But because it's a perfect replica, if you have a dairy allergy, you can't have our product. But it's vegan. Wow. I don't even know what to do with that. I feel like it's going to create this wave of issues, and for people who don't read the fine print well enough, it's like, that's kind of a big deal. So, hidden sources of dairy. Dairy generally hides a lot less than something like corn or soy or even wheat. You know, the 6 big factors are going to be bread, potato chips, crackers, dairy-free cheese, medication, and granola bars. Those are the places I really see it the most. Now, let's talk cheese for just a moment. If cheese says dairy-free, it's not supposed to contain any type of dairy. If it says lactose-free, or if it says vegan, or if it says milk-free, those are the things that you need to kind of go, let me double check that label. But now you have to ask yourself, can I do trace amounts of dairy? Fun fact, most commercially available dairy-free foods are made on shared equipment with dairy. In fact, I've called so many companies and I'm so disappointed because every time it's like, hey, you've got dairy-free milk, is it made on shared equipment with dairy? Yes. Oh, okay, great, thanks, bye. Hey, you've got dairy-free yogurt, is it made on shared equipment with dairy? Yes. Oh, okay, great, thanks, bye. In fact, there's only a few companies. I actually wanted to make a dairy-free guide for everyone, thinking I was going to find hundreds of dairy-free products, all from dairy-free equipment. There was like 5. I'm not going to make a guide with 5 products, my goodness, you guys. So it ended up turning into the Dairy-Free Swaps article, which I really encourage you to read, because believe it or not, there are still options, but you have to know the options. Fun allergy factoid. There's a brand of dairy-free cheese dairy-free cheese, that there's one process in their whole step that exposes their product to shared equipment with dairy. And I was like, well then why are we using this step? They would have had a perfectly great product. There's another company where only the shreds are on dairy-free equipment. Another company where if you buy the small size container, it's dairy-free equipment. If you buy the large size container, it's not dairy-free equipment. Oh my goodness, who's going to keep up with all these details? Especially, well, apparently I am, but I don't think everybody should have to. Which is why I'm always saying companies need charts on their website, so we're just 2 clicks away from knowing shared equipment, shared facility, but I digress. Let's get back to hidden sources of dairy. In medication, lactose is the most common form of dairy found, and it's hidden. Like, it's not really on the label. It's not loud and clear. It's not in bold print. It doesn't say contains. In fact, a lot of doctors who know their patients have a dairy allergy mistakenly prescribe something that contains dairy, because even the doctors aren't keeping up with all of these crazy ingredients. So, apparently we have to. Compounding your medication might be a way to get around this, and it's an easier way if you ask me, especially if you have multiple and life-threatening food allergies. Now, in items like bread and potato chips, dairy is easier-ish to avoid, especially if you stick with allergy-aware and allergy-focused companies. The real issue with potato chips, because people are always like, what do you mean dairy in potato chips? It's just the sea salt version. Yes, it's the sea salt version made in the same fryer or the same equipment or the same whatever as the sour cream and onion, as the cheddar flavor, etc. And so when you start understanding how this works, in fact, pause, check out this picture of 20 parts per million. See that tiny little dot? That's 20 pixels, and the big white square is 1 million. That's 20 parts per million. Folks, it's a small little dot. And for some people, that's all it takes to cause anaphylaxis. So when you keep that in mind, and you think about how food companies work, how the equipment works, in fact, go check out a chocolate factory tour. and look at the equipment. Chocolate is notoriously one of the hardest things to clean off of equipment compared to other things. And when a company who makes dairy-based foods say, hey, we're gonna make this dairy-free item now, I'm always like, do you use separate equipment? And 9 times out of 10, you guessed it, the answer is no. In fact, to date, I've only found one ice cream company that makes both dairy and dairy-free and use separate equipment. Everyone else, consistently, I ask, and it's always, well, we use shared equipment, but we clean it first, and we run the dairy-free stuff first. And I'm thinking, it doesn't really matter if you run it first or last, because if you cleaned it in between, I mean, it's still like dairy, not dairy, dairy, not dairy. And most companies aren't telling you about how many recalls they've done, how many failed tests they've had. There's a lot you don't know, unless you're calling and you're really asking the right questions and talking to the right people, because there are some companies that have a policy and they basically just read this paragraph that the higher ups have given them, and that's all they'll tell you, and you can't ask anyone else. And for companies like that, I say, no thank you. I like talking to owners. I like talking to, people who really understand where the food is coming from, because if they don't really know, my goodness, you guys, it's awful. Now, this is exactly why we started Raise and why I'm always saying, just make your own food, freeze it, it's so much easier. I say that because there are so many hoops to jump through if you have a severe allergy, can't do trace amounts, and you want packaged foods. It's a long, long list. You can definitely check out the safe product lists on Raise. We have the gluten-free allergy-friendly guide and the top 8 free guide and the corn-free guide, all of which we've called thousands of companies, and we tell you all about their free-from equipment. If they claim to be free from something and use shared equipment, they're actually not in the guide. Like, that's a big hard pass for us. So, I hope this helps you understand hidden sources of dairy. If you have other allergies, definitely check out our other YouTube videos about hidden sources, or check out our Raise website. We've got some great articles on the hidden sources of soy, tree nut, dairy, gluten, and maybe a couple of other things. Definitely check it out. If you have any questions, let us know, and happy dairy-free eating. Hey, thanks for watching. Make sure you guys leave us a comment, like, subscribe, hit that notification bell.